Welcome back to Mystical Musings. You know, as we wrap up the year, it feels like we're standing on the edge of something big, that sense of both reflection on the past and anticipation for the future. And what's amazing is that the stars are echoing this energy perfectly.
It really is a unique time. Cosmically speaking, we're not just looking at a typical New Year's fresh start. There's this underlying current of choices that we make now right here, having a ripple effect way beyond January 1st.
Decisions with long-term consequences.
Yeah.
That sounds intense. But you always have a way of making even the most complex astrology feel approachable. So I'm all ears. We're lucky to have Becca L. Hart back on Mystical Musings. You know her from her insightful blog, also called Mystical Musings, which we'll be diving into today. Becca, welcome back.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be back.
So tell us what's making this week so potent astrologically.
Well, on December 23rd, we have a significant alignment. It might sound a little technical, but basically, the sun, which represents our core self, is clashing with something called the nodes of destiny. Think of these nodes as points in our birth chart that show our soul's path, our purpose. When they clash with the sun like this, it can feel like we're at a crossroads, being pushed to make choices aligned with our true calling.
So it's not just about setting New Year's resolutions. It's about aligning with our bigger life purpose. I can already feel the weight of those decisions. Anything else we should be aware of?
Definitely. Right after that sun and nodes alignment on December 24th, we have Jupiter, the planet of expansion, in a tense back and forth with Saturn, the planet of structure and responsibility. This kind of energy might bring up feelings of uncertainty or even some conflicts, especially if you felt a similar vibe back on August 19th when we had a similar alignment.
Oh, I remember that time.
Yeah.
There's definitely some tension in the air. So how do we navigate this Jupiter-Saturn clash without getting totally swept up in it?
That's a great question. It's all about finding that sweet spot between honoring your need for growth and expansion. That's Jupiter, while also working within the realistic structures and boundaries of your life. That's Saturn. It might require some flexibility and compromise.
Balance is key as always. Now, I know we can't talk about astrology without mentioning Mercury, the planet of communication. What's Mercury up to this week?
Mercury is definitely stirring the pot. On December 26th, it opposes Jupiter, which could amplify those feelings of uncertainty or lead to some heated discussions. But here's the interesting part. Just a day later, on December 27th, Mercury aligns with Saturn. This shift can bring more grounded communication, making it an excellent time for important conversations or setting clear boundaries.
So we're swinging between potential arguments and clear communication. Sounds like we need to choose our words carefully this week.
Exactly. And to wrap up the week, Venus, the planet of love and relationships, interacts with Uranus, the planet of change and rebellion, which is retrograde on December 28th. This could bring a surge of independence, making us question relationships or situations that feel restrictive.
A little shake-up in the love department. I'm intrigued. Before we get into the specifics for each zodiac sign, I know you always have some amazing mystical advice to share. What's your tip for this week?
Well, with all this active Mercury energy, I recommend focusing on your throat chakra, the energy center of communication and self-expression. A fun way to activate it is by singing out loud. It might feel silly, but the vibrations help to clear any blockages and allow you to express yourself with more authenticity.
That's a fantastic tip. I'm definitely going to give that a try. Now, everyone wants to know what the stars have in store for them personally. Let's get into those zodiac forecasts. Starting with Aries, what can they expect this week?
For Aries, this is a prime time to set those ambitious professional goals. You're known for your go-getter energy, so harness that and take action toward those big dreams. This week, don't just think about it, do it.
Aries are always ready to charge ahead. What about Taurus? What should they focus on?
Taurus, with Venus as your ruling planet, you're being called to prioritize pleasure and self-care. This week, focus on activities that bring you joy and help you recharge. That could be anything from a luxurious spa day to simply curling up with a good book.
Sounds like a recipe for a blissful week. Now let's move on to Gemini. What should those born under the sign of the twins pay attention to?
Gemini, your intuition is heightened this week, especially through your dreams. Pay close attention to any recurring symbols or themes that pop up, as they could hold valuable insights into your current path. It's like your subconscious is trying to send you a message.
Always trust those dream messages. What about Cancer? What's in store for them?
Cancer, this is a great week to update your daily routines for better organization and efficiency. Think about simple tweaks that can create a more fulfilling life. Maybe it's streamlining your morning routine or finally tackling that cluttered closet.
Small changes can make a big difference. Now let's see what the stars have in store for the radiant Leo.
Leo, get ready for a heartwarming surprise. You might receive a thoughtful gift from a coworker this week. It's a testament to the positive energy you bring to your workplace. Consider paying it forward in a creative way.
Workplace kindness goes a long way. Now on to the meticulous Virgo. What advice do you have for them?
Virgo this week is about protecting your energy. Be mindful of who you're spending time with and prioritize those who uplift you. Remember, it's okay to be selective about your social interactions. You don't have to say yes to everything.
Great advice for all of us. Now let's see what's on the horizon for Libra.
Libra, you're being called to take charge of your finances, especially with the holiday season in full swing. But don't stress. Your natural diplomacy will help you negotiate with yourself to avoid overspending. Create a budget, make a list, and seek out those sales.
Savvy shopping is a superpower. Now on to the mysterious Scorpio, what awaits them this week.
Scorpio, you thrive in deep connections. This week, focus on spending time with friends who share your interests. Those shared activities will not only strengthen your bonds, but also reveal softer sides of yourselves that you might not always show.
I love that. Shared passions create lasting bonds.
Yeah.
What about the adventurous Sagittarius? What's
Yeah.
in their forecast?
Sagittarius, get ready for some romantic sparks. This week, embrace those feelings of attraction, but be mindful of self-sabotage. Instead of shying away from commitment, see what happens when you choose to go deeper with one person.
Deeper connections are definitely in the air. Now on to Capricorn. What should those born under the sea goat be focusing on?
Capricorn, with your solar return underway, it's time to get intentional about your future. Reflect on what you want to manifest in the coming year and start planting those seeds. Your determination and focus will guide you toward success.
So inspiring. What about Aquarius? What can they expect?
Aquarius, you've been through a period of transformation. This week is about acknowledging how far you've come and embracing your authentic self. You've got this.
The power of self-acceptance is truly transformative. Finally, let's see what this week holds for Pisces.
Pisces, this is a great time to reconnect with old friends or acquaintances. Reach out and reminisce about the good old days. These connections will bring a sense of warmth and joy. You can even start planning get-togethers for 2025.
Love that idea. Reconnecting with old friends always brings a smile to my face. If you're loving these insights and want even more astrological wisdom, be sure to check out Becca's website, mysticalmusetarot.com. It's a treasure trove of information, and you can also find more details about these weekly forecasts, like the one we're exploring today on her blog, Mystical Musings. So much good stuff.
Thank you. I'm glad you find it helpful.
Now, as we shift gears a bit, I want to zoom out and talk about the overall theme of the week.
It's fascinating because while there's this emphasis on major decisions and potential for shakeups, there's also this undercurrent of calmness woven through the week's astrology.
And it's interesting. It almost seems contradictory.
Right.
Like, how can we be facing these pivotal moments and be expected to stay calm?
It's not so much about being passive or avoiding the big stuff. It's more about approaching those decisions from a place of centeredness. Instead of getting swept up in the potential chaos of what-ifs, we can tap into our inner wisdom and intuition.
So it's like acknowledging the intensity of the astrology, but not letting it dictate our emotional state. We get to choose how we respond to the energy.
Exactly. And it's important to remember that these astrological influences aren't like a light switch that turns on and off. The energy builds, gradually peaks, and then slowly fades. So these themes of reflection, intention, and aligned choices are going to resonate with us even as we move into the new year.
It's almost as if the cosmos are planting seeds now that will blossom over time. And that reminds me, astrology isn't about predicting a fixed future, is it?
Not at all. It's more like receiving a cosmic weather report. We know there might be storms or sunshine, but we still have the power to choose how we prepare and how we navigate those conditions.
Okay, that's a helpful way to think about it. So as we wrap up our deep dive into this week's astrology, I have a question for both of us to reflect on. What area of your life could benefit from a little more intention and clarity as we head into the new year? What's speaking to you personally, Becca?
That's a powerful question. For me, it's about finding more balance. I'm very passionate about my work, about sharing these astrological insights, but sometimes I let that passion take over, and I forget to prioritize my own well-being. So in 2025, I'm making a commitment to nurture myself more, to create more space for rest and rejuvenation.
That's a beautiful intention, something I think many of us can relate to. It's so easy to get caught up in the doing and forget about the being. For me, what's coming up is the intention to be more mindful of the people I surround myself with, deepening connections with those who truly lift me up, and maybe creating a little more distance from relationships that drain my energy.
That's so important. We really do become like the company we keep. Choosing our energetic influences wisely is a powerful form of self-care.
Couldn't agree more. Now, I want to remind everyone that if you're loving this conversation and want to learn more from Becca, be sure to visit her website, mysticalmusetarot.com. It's an incredible resource for all things astrology, tarot, and spiritual guidance. And of course, you can always find more detailed weekly forecasts like the one we're discussing today on her blog, Mystical Musings. Links are in the show notes.
Thank you for sharing that. I always love connecting with listeners who are interested in exploring these topics further.
Before we officially wrap up this episode of Mystical Musings, I want to leave everyone with one final thought. The stars are just a guide. The real magic happens when we take that wisdom and use it to create the life we truly desire. What resonates with you? What calls to your soul? Those are the whispers we should be listening to as we step into the new year.
Beautifully said. It's about empowering ourselves, isn't it? We're not just passive recipients of fate. We're co-creators of our reality.
I love that. Becca, thank you so much for sharing your insights and expertise with us today. I always feel so inspired after our conversations.
The feeling is mutual. Thanks for having me.
And to all of our listeners, thank you for tuning in to Mystical Musings. We hope this deep dive into the week's astrology has left you feeling empowered, inspired, and ready to embrace all that the new year has in store. If you're eager to explore more of Becca's wisdom, be sure to visit her website, mysticalmusetarot.com, for personalized readings and a wealth of astrological insights. And don't forget to check out her blog, Mystical Musings, where you can find detailed weekly forecasts like the one we explored today. We'll include the links in the show notes.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, everyone. We wish you a week filled with cosmic magic and aligned choices. We'll be back next week with another deep dive into the mystical realms. Until then, take care and trust the journey.